If you've played Elden Ring, you've probably fallen in love with the living jars. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. The little tiny cute jars with the arms dangling, and then you got the big jars that like do the spinning tornado towards you, and they're super annoying because they block hallways and corridors when you're trying to get past. But I digress. They are easily some of the most charming creatures in the land between. From the heroic, booming voice of Iron Fist Alexander to the innocent, timid little jars living in Jarburg. They bring a rare spark of warmth and joy to a brutally dark world. But this is a From Software game, and behind that cute clay exterior lies one of the most horrific, tragic, and stomach-churning secrets in video game history. Today we are cracking open the lore of the living jars. From their noble role as warrior vessels to the unspeakable nightmarish rituals that birth them. To understand what these creatures are, we have to look at what's inside them. Living jars are not just magical pottery. They are sentient, animated ceramic vessels packed to the brim with blended flesh. In the lands between, they serve a dual purpose. First, they are mobile communal graves. They gather the remains of fallen soldiers and heroes. Second, they are ritualistic recyclers. When a living jar dies, its remains are typically spread at the base of the minor Erd tree. This allows the souls and flesh within them to be absorbed by the Erd tree's roots, facilitating the cycle of rebirth under the Golden Order. Now that's how I want to go. Don't cremate me, and for the love of everything that's holy, do not send me to a funeral home to have these creeps.
Let's put the
I'm missing something.
Oh yeah, let's put the forceps in there, and the tubing. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. We're doing great. Turn the machine on. Blood, Kool-Aid, tomato soup.
Take my organs out and clean me up, and oh my god, embalming sounds worse than dying. Do not do that to me, please. It actually terrifies me more than dying is to be embalmed. Like, I know I'm getting a little off topic here, but if I somehow die, bury me under a really cool tree, dude. Just don't embalm me, just throw me under that tree and let me, whatever, dude. That just, it sounds like a badass way to go, though. Just being fed to the Erd tree's roots. I want that. Do that to me. Let's continue. From warrior jars like Alexander, this process is an active pursuit of strength. Alexander literally stuffs the corpses of fallen champions into his own body after a battle. Now, we played the Radahn fight, right? Everybody knows about the big Radahn fight. First time you fight Radahn, General Radahn, not Consort Radahn, you can summon the Alexander to help fight him, right? And at the end of the battle, you see him just stuffing his jar himself with dead bodies. And that's why he's doing that. It's really interesting lore. He believes that by absorbing the physical remains of greatness, he inherits their courage, their martial skills, and their strength. It sounds grim, but within the culture of the lands between, it's actually viewed as an honorable burial. The dead get to live on, fighting through a champion. But how did this practice start? For years, players thought this was just a quirky, localized tradition. Then the Shadow of the Erd Tree expansion dropped, and it changed everything. Welcome to the Land of Shadow, a realm frozen in time, predating the Golden Order. Here we find the true, unfiltered origin of the living jars and its house of horrors. Scattered across the world are massive underground dungeons known as jails. Inside these jails, and by the way, I went the longest time thinking they're called galls, but they're actually pronounced jails. Like literally like Jail, but it's spelt more annoying, so it's jails. You won't find the cute hopping jars of Jarburg, though, and I know you guys know what I'm talking about. In the expansion, the jails of the Land of Shadow, they're terrifying, bro. But you're not gonna see those cute little tiny jars anymore. Okay. You find a giant blood-soaked jar hanging from chains, surrounded by butcher tables, giant cleavers, and horrifying masses of living, weeping meat known as in-jarred flesh. This was the work of the Hornset, the dominant horn-worshipping culture of this ancient era. The Hornset practiced a gruesome form of ritual alchemy. They believed that the primordial state of life was a melting pot where all things were blended together. To recreate this divine unity, they began a mass-scale jar-filling operation. How are jars made? By blending flesh together, by blending as many people as you can together. That's how you make a jar. And you have these fanatics who thought, well, this is how you make saints. This is divine. So what do they do? I mean, you could have told me this happened in, human history. I would have believed it, to be honest with you. But they didn't use willing warriors. Of course they didn't. They used prisoners, criminals, and anyone they deemed sinners. The Hornset would take these people, slice their flesh open with whips and blades to expose their raw tissue, and jam multiple living people into a single jar. They would add a special cocktail of magic reagents to force the bodies to literally melt and fuse together in a single agonizing biological entity. And their goal? They believed that through this immense suffering and forced unity, the victims would be purified. They were trying to manufacture saints. How awesome is that? From Software, you never disappoint. I'm telling you guys, playing these games, Dark Souls games and Elden Ring and From Software games in general, the story when you play it is so vague, like it's lost on you. Every time I play it, I'm like, I can't even pay attention to what's going on because none of it makes any sense. It's vague, it's subtle. But when you really dig into the lore of these games, man, it's so deep, it's so fascinating, it's so dark. I highly recommend you guys check it out. But the tragedy gets even deeper, and it connects directly to the god of the lands between herself, Queen Marika. Before she was a goddess, Marika belonged to a peaceful race of people known as the shamans, who lived in a hidden village in the Land of Shadow. The Hornset discovered something unique about the shaman biology. Their flesh possessed a special property that allowed it to meld seamlessly with other people's bodies without rejecting it. How convenient. Because of this, the shamans became the ultimate raw material for the Hornset's jar rituals. The Hornset raided the village, kidnapping almost every single shaman, men, women, and children, and dragging them into the jails to be mutilated and stuffed into jars. When Marika rose to power and achieved godhood, her entire war against the Hornset was fueled by the trauma and absolute horror of what they did to her people. She sealed the Land of Shadow away to hide the graveyard of her people. But notice what she did afterward. In her new Golden Order, she repurposed the jars. She took the very instruments used to torture her people and turned them into a tool for honored burials. The jars went from being torturous prisons for forced sainthood to becoming peaceful caretakers of the dead in the lands between. Alright, so I'm editing this video and I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on Marika and the, on how her vengeance against the Hornset. It's literally the trigger for the entire Elden Ring story, right? The horrific practice that the Hornset did on her people was the entire reason why Queen Marika waged a genocidal war of vengeance against the Hornset. After watching her people get systematically tortured and stuffed into pots by the Hornset, Marika ascended to godhood. She then sent her son, Mesmir, the Impaler, on a brutal cleansing crusade to burn the Hornset civilization to ashes as pure retribution for what they did to her family and her village. Before launching armies, Marika infiltrated the highest echelons of Hornset society. The game's story trailer famously refers to this era as the seduction and the betrayal. She gained the trust. Marika initially allied with the Hornset elite, positioning herself as someone who could help them achieve their religious goals. Statues of Marika were originally erected all over the Hornset's territory, proving they once deeply revered her. And if you play Elden Ring, you'll see Marika statues everywhere. Stealing godhood. She used the Hornset's own grand infrastructure and holy site, the Gate of Divinity at the top of Enir Ilum. That's where you fight Consort Radahn, right? I don't even know if I pronounced that right. to trigger the birth of gold and ascend to true godhood. Once she grabbed the power of the Elden Ring, she immediately turned her back on them. Religious and spiritual warfare. Upon ascending, Marika stripped the horn set of her new golden blessing. She systematically rewrote the spiritual laws of the world to ruin them. Stripping grace, she denied the horn set the grace of gold, rendering them spiritually stagnant. Demonizing the crucible, the horn set worshipped the crucible, the primordial blending of life symbolized by aspect like horns, feathers, and tails. Marika officially decreed that any traits of the crucible were impurities and a curse. This flipped the horn set from the holy rulers of the world into subhuman heretics. Mesmir's genocidal crusade. The physical war was carried out by her hidden elder son, Mesmir the Impaler. Marika gave him a massive army consisting of brutal fire knights, perfumers, and omen killers. She ordered him to enact a merciless scorched earth cleansing. Burning civilization, Mesmir's forces marched through the lands, burning down the Hornset's grand cities and towering settlements, slaughtering divine beasts. They hunted down and butchered the Horset's sacred sculptors and divine beasts. Mass impalement. To leave a permanent message of terror, Mesmir literally impaled thousands of Hornset citizens on massive giant spears across the entire continent, which you can still see standing in the DLC. Marika's final act of war was to completely erase the Hornset from existence. Okay, she went hard, bro. So the next time you see Iron Fist Alexander proudly proclaiming his warrior status, or you help a little jar pick flowers in Jarburg, remember the long bloody history behind them. They are a species born from the most horrific atrocities imaginable. Yet they evolved into some of the most honorable, kind-hearted beings in the world, devoid of light. They are proof that even from the deepest, darkest pits of cruelty, something noble can grow. Now, what do you guys think about the living jars after knowing that? I want you to go back, play Elden Ring, and I want you to pay attention to the jars. Go play the expansion, visit some of the jails. Look at the horrific, just scenery in those jails, dude. And you're going to start to understand why there's a big conglomerate of human flesh inside of them. And they're coming at you and they seem like they're in agony. It's because they're alive. It's insane. Awesome. It's so cool, dude. I mean, this could be a creepypasta. And you know what? I know they're making a movie of Elden Ring and it's flopping. Clip this, mark my fucking words, the movie is going to flop. You know why? You cannot put a good story into an hour and 30 minutes. You cannot put a good story into a movie form. You can't do it. It's too rushed. It's impossible. What are you going to do? You're going to explain the blood god, Mog, or whatever? His story is fucking awesome as well. What are you going to do? There's so many different side stories and characters and things that you have to... How are you going to cram all that into an hour and a half? Maybe 2 hours. Even 2 or 3 hours is not long enough. You need a Game of Thrones style TV series for Elden Ring. That's the only way it will ever be good. Why don't people just do that? I don't understand. It makes no sense. You want to get rich? Fund an Elden Ring TV series. HBO series. Like Game of Thrones was. Fund it. Put this stuff into a TV series and just run with it, man. And don't let the woke DEI writers and stuff get involved, because they always ruin it. You see what's going on with the House of Dragons right now compared to Game of Thrones. You can see, if you watch Game of Thrones and House of Dragons, you can see DEI came into effect in between the time those two things were filmed, right? Because the House of Dragons, they're just... The writing, you can tell that they're being forced to virtue signal. It's really weird, but I digress. All I'm saying, the movie's going to suck. Put it into a TV series. Make it a 10 episode, a 5 season, 10 episode each. You know, there's so much lore that you're going to get to, and if you make a movie, you're going to skip past all the Living Jar lore, and if you do get to it, it will be 2 minutes of screen time? Nah. It's going to flop, guys. I'm sorry. But what do you guys think about the Living Jars? Did you know this lore? Did you even know this about them? If you did, leave a comment down below. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe. And if you like my shirt, Yeah, this is a You Died shirt with Peter Griffin. I actually have new shirts on my store, on my merch store. Peter Griffin is smaller, so he's not so wide. So be sure to go check out my store, pick up a couple of these shirts, and I will catch you guys on the next video.